a really good day.
What's up, YouTube? Dirty Dave here at Mother's Day, back with another video. We're going to make it a Sunday fun day and do a little bit of wheelie practice. I don't even know who that is. We'll do a little wheelie practice, and I figured this would be a good opportunity to do maybe a wheelie tutorial. We'll do a part one, which is power wheelies. Now we'll do some power wheelies first in part one. You know, I used to wheelie back in the day. I don't really do it anymore. I'm no professional, but I was able to do a couple things. Anyway, so what we'll do is we'll do power wheelies. I'll try to get a couple perspectives on that. Part two, we'll talk about clutching it up and brake control. In part three, I don't know, I'll figure something out. The key to wheelies, number one, for safety, is brake control. Number two is throttle control. When you're at that balance point, which is number three, you have to make sure you have that throttle control. And number four, clutching it up. Rev it, clutch it up. Reach the balance point, use your brake control and throttle control at the same time. Alright? But first we'll start with power wheelies, just throttle only, so that we can just get used to having the front wheel up in the air. Then from there, we'll talk about clutching it up and getting to balance point. So today's going to be basically power wheelies and throttle control.
Are you saying pow? What are you saying?
You'll notice when I do a couple of these, I'm probably going to be chasing them out, which means basically the wheel comes down and we have to give it more throttle to bring it back up. But then we chase it, we run out of gear. And you could either switch gears. Oh, that'll be lesson 3, switching gears in a wheelie. So we will we'll talk about chasing it. We'll find a place to do this at. This is the school I was at in my first video, when I went around and did a walk around and an overview of my KE100. I can drag peg on this thing. Alright, so the first thing you really want to do, which this isn't ideal, I don't know if you can see in the camera, but we want to get some even pavement. Alright, this way the bike won't swing and sway back and forth. We want to get something that's relatively flat. Okay, and once you get better, you can wheelie on anything. But so we're going to start with power wheelies first.
Why does it keep doing that?
Okay, and that's basically just bringing the front wheel up under power. So the first thing I want you guys to notice is, if you see as you rev the engine up, you gradually go faster. When you snap the throttle, you don't really get any power, especially out of this bike. You know, certain like CBR 1000, ZX10s, yeah, you can power wheelie just straight up throttle, but this bike doesn't come up. But if you, I don't know if you noticed this, but let's try this. If you gas it right off and gas back on, see, that was brake control right there. I went up too high, smacked the brake and brought the front end right down. Okay, but if you do moderate speed, let off the throttle, kick it back on and pull back. Okay, here's chasing a wheelie. I ran out of gear. I'm going to set up another camera here so I can show you guys from a different perspective. Alright, so we're going to talk power wheelies. So, if you just smack the throttle, with gradual speed, the front end's not going to come up. But if you give it gas, let off, give it gas, you see how it's got a little jump to it? Okay. So we're going to use that jump to our advantage. And this is all sitting down. We could do stand up and whatnot. But we're going to start with just basic wheelies. Okay. So I'm going to rip. I don't know if you guys saw there, but I kind of just coasted with no throttle. I was almost at the balance point, and that's really the goal, because this bike doesn't have enough power to just crank wheelies all day long. We want to get to the balance point so that the balance point does the work for us. We give it a little blips of throttle and little hits of brake, and we'll keep it at that balance point. Hey! All right, let's do it again. So this is just little blips of throttle. Okay. Okay, I'm always using that rear brake. You have to make sure that you use the rear brake, because if not, you'll flip over. All right, so what I suggest you guys do is start on a quad. Okay, you don't have to worry about the side-to-side balance. You can bring it up, and you could pretty much just jump off of it. With a bike, it's a little bit tougher because you have to worry about side-to-side. Okay, balance point. So whenever I hit that balance point, I make sure I'm on the rear brake. Let's try it again. Now, in the meantime, while you're doing this, your body position is key. Okay, so when we blip that throttle, okay, we want to pull back. Okay, use the momentum. Start small. You don't have to 12 o'clock the bike the first time you do it. Start small. Start on a small bike. I used to do circle wheelies back in the day. I learned on an XR50. Taught me the mechanics. Learn the mechanics first. Okay, and then when the wheel comes up, you're gonna have to use a little bit of side to side to kind of keep balanced. If you like, it might help you to lower the tire pressure in the rear tire. That'll give you a little more side to side stability. But you got to be careful though, because if you're running a tube tire, it might cause a little friction. I don't know. Then you might pop a tire, but the lower pressure tire will help you with some side-to-side stability. Let me see if I can hit a balance point wheelie. Okay, so I literally just tapped the brake 3 times there to keep my front end right at the balance point. But it's funny, you can actually without any throttle, at some point in time, you could just coast. Keep it a little bit behind the balance point and use the momentum of the bike. Yeah, I chased that one out. But while I'm doing this, watch my body position in the other camera. Okay, do you see how you can literally... And just practice with little blips of throttle, a little bit at a time. But you're going to have to get comfortable with going to that balance point. Keep practicing, guys. You'll get it. It just takes time. And start small. Obviously, when you're doing this, make sure you wear all of your protective equipment. Make sure you wear a helmet. Make sure you wear gloves at the bare minimum. Okay, so I drifted off to the side a little bit over there. Excuse my heavy breathing. I'm no spring chicken. Okay, pop. Okay. Cover that back brake. I'll walk through step by step of exactly what I do while we're doing it. I want you guys to see when you blip that throttle upon decel, really gives you a nice burst of power that you can work with. And then you can modulate the throttle from there once you get it up to a certain point. Alright? Now let's do a couple more. Blip, blip, up. Okay, throttle, throttle, brake, brake, throttle, 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 throttle. Brake, brake, brake. So let's try again. Position, blip, blip, pull up. This is all in first gear. At some point in time we could switch into second when we learn balance point, and that's for another video. Alright, here we go. Whip. Okay, every time it comes up too far, hit the brake. Wheel comes down, give it more throttle. If you go too far, give it less, hit the brake. Up. Okay, let's try to get it to balance point. I'm not used to wheeling this bike either, so it's going to take some time for me, and you guys can learn along with me. Brake. You just got to get comfortable with that height of the front wheel and feel like you're going to go backwards. You hit that brake, you won't. Brake. Okay, so you can always save yourself if you hit that rear brake. That's why it's so important to get comfortable with using that rear brake. That will save your life, trust me. It'll save a rash behind as well. I keep saying last one, but I'm having too much fun. Okay, you can see where I got to the balance point. It started coming backwards. Hit the brake, came right back down. That rear brake will save your life. So in the next video, we'll talk about clutch wheelies, clutching it up. Allows you to bring the bike up to the balance point real fast. And slow things down a little bit. Alright. Now's the last one. I really hope that camera's working. Brake, brake. Alright, good. Hope that helps. Stay tuned for lesson 2. We'll review lesson 1. And we will also talk about clutching up the front wheel. Alright guys, have a really good day. And I will see you in the next video. Peace!